Hello there and welcome to the Hashpower Academy. This is your oh, that was a catch. This is your place to learn anything and everything to do with Bitcoin from just about every aspect of the network. And you'll notice that I have left this piece blank. So essentially, the focus of this video is to show you what is the daily amount of Bitcoin as an output of the network and how we can use that very nature of the network to measure all other different things, such as the input amount of energy of the entire network versus that financial output. And what that does when you have all this mathematically connected together is create a price that the miners are earning per kilowatt hour or industrial scale megawatt hour. So we'll calculate that over there. But what that important metric is about, Bitcoin per kilowatt hour, is that it's an exchange rate that goes both ways. Because if a miner is earning a certain amount of Bitcoin per kilowatt hour, but someone comes in to, say, charge a battery and will pay for the energy at a higher price, why would you mine? Turn that computer off and sell that person power and get paid Bitcoin, hopefully. And now Bitcoin becomes the system of energy and financial availability because it starts trading it as the same thing. So this is something that I want to implement here in El Salvador at a nominal low scale and scale it up. But yeah, so we can start with the 450 Bitcoin per day, which is, and we'll calculate all of these, the 3.125 Bitcoin per block times 144. That is the 10 minutes per block, 144 blocks, 24 hours, but obviously that changes and fluctuates. So what does Bitcoin as a system, as a software do to constantly change and adjust that? It has to look to the past. So the network itself has a certain difficulty level, 144.4, which is what it is right now. And the units are trillion. And the current difficulty allows us to actually calculate the network hash rate as well. And the calculation there to find this figure is 7.158, which is a constant on that regulation of 10 minutes per block. That is a whole subject area in of itself. So if we multiply 144.4 by 7.158, we get the network hash rate. And that is what Bitcoin in of itself is doing as a software system. It's constantly observing the amount of compute out there finding blocks. It can't look through the digital layer to the physical layer. These three are the digital side, and these three are the physical side. It can't look through as to the amount of compute underneath, but proof of work. There's a certain amount of brute force amount of energy and compute expenditure to add the next block to the chain, and that sets a direct price when we start looking at things like Cambridge data, which is the loose sort of average efficiency of these computers of the network. Now, I have it in watts per terahash, but as you can see, we have this in exahash, which is 1 million times bigger. So what we can do, quite simply, is add a mega here and change this for exa, because watts per terahash is the same as saying megawatts per exahash, which is easier for this example. And if we multiply the network hash rate by the average efficiency, we get approximately what the power of the network is. And multiplying that out by 24 hours, we get 446,256 megawatts per hour per day. There's 24 of them in that example. And what we can directly do is shift this to hourly. Now, one thing, solar is a bad example for this power because that would assume that it's at 100%. Now, if you're knowledgeable in the area of solar, let's just use 20% as the prime example, because obviously in a 24-hour day, you're getting solar for the peak of the sunlight. And so we really only get 20% of what is a 24-hour day. So when you look at a solar panel and it says 700 watts, it's not going to make 700 watts over 24 hours. It's going to be a certain amount. And we roughly estimate that to be 20%. But that's just an extra fun feature. So to shift this all from 24-hour day, or let's use the correct time units, 144 blocks. Let's shift that to an hour, which is 1 hour, or should we say 6 blocks? 6 blocks. And from 6 blocks, the amount of Bitcoin related to those 6 blocks, 6 times 3.125, that is 18.75. So there is 18.75 Bitcoin the network subsidy is distributing out per hour. And the amount of energy expenditure per 24 hours, or should we say per hour, is as such. 18,594 megawatts an hour. So in layman's terms, the fact that these are all stitched together through physics and finance, mathematically, we can directly measure that the network of this much energy expenditure over an hour is earning this much Bitcoin over an hour. And fun fact, the internal medium of exchange for Bitcoin is the computers. Because we're talking about these computers switching on or off to either monetize the power, switch on, use power, and mine a quantity of that Bitcoin per hour, or off because someone might be paying some more. And that means that Bitcoin's efficiency, it could be you as an individual miner, and that network hash rate defining difficulty are the two toggles. But the fact that we're measuring efficiency of your computer as that first exchange rate from, say, 1 kilowatt hour through that computer and its efficiency, if this was 9 megawatts per exahash, this computer would be twice as efficient. So it needs half the energy to earn the same Bitcoin. So efficiency is the physical toggle for Bitcoin per kilowatt hour. And the entire network itself, plus the actual amount of Bitcoin being distributed, is the digital toggle. So you can think of it as your local efficiency and global block rewards are the two toggles as to what allows Bitcoin to define a price in energy. And so 18.5 Bitcoin per hour, and obviously 18,594 megawatts consumed as an average of the network per hour at any moment in time right now. And if you directly divide those two, you get quite directly through, again, as I said, hash rate becoming that medium of exchange with those two physical and digital toggles, you get approximately, what is it going to be? Well, it's pretty close. It's pretty much 100,000 sats per megawatt hour. Or divide it by 1,000 and you get your, that's not right. Hang on. Yeah, well, in megawatt hours and then kilowatt hours, 100 sats, kilowatt hour. That I do know. So what I'm trying to get at, I think that's not right. I've got my units off, but I do know it's 100 sats a kilowatt hour. Double check the numbers. So what I'm trying to get at here is that direct chaos of fees, because that will be eventually what this pricing system becomes. It will be completely fees because subsidy drains to zero. Think about in 100, 200 years time, it will just be the fee market defining the price of everyone's energy. And that means that when there's low economic activity in society, there will be lots and lots of cheap available energy to buy from miners. And when the fee market's crazy, the economy's running hot, the price of energy goes up. And so Bitcoin changes what I like to say, interest rates of the fiat world into energy prices. And it bases that cost of energy based on what's available. Because if more mining plugs in, it means more energy is plugged in, which means this 450 is now priced against more energy. So if you're holding an amount of Bitcoin and it's just been priced against more energy, you now can buy into a deeper pool of energy. And thus, the price of energy in Bitcoin terms continually goes down. And every time a miner switches off to sell power, that's hash rate coming offline. So that's difficulty decreasing, which means Bitcoin per kilowatt hour increasing. And so the price of energy becomes this dynamic, available phenomena, which literally prices what energy is actually available from all these computers just sitting there waiting to sell energy. And this is really pushing into what the future of Bitcoin is, which is energy availability just as much as financial availability, because this very system has bridged our physical and digital worlds to make money and energy the same thing. And the medium of exchange is the computers in the middle. So I've been developing what could be a banking system related to this side of things and looking to build a farm related to this side of things. So if anyone's interested to explore those sorts of things, let me know. But I plan to build before I present, and not that way round. Not the other way around, shall I say. But yeah, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little bit ad hoc, but yeah, it just explores all different ideas of this crazy network of all different moving parts. But Bitcoin preserves all the transactional chaos into a shared objective truth, a reality that we can all measure everything in society in, because if you price energy in Bitcoin, you price everything in Bitcoin. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.